What's up, guys? It's the bros here from the Lucky Draw podcast, here with a special guest, William Mew VMAX, for episode 30. Kind of excited. We're heading to Monterrey here in early hours, starting our regional back-to-back. Lots of stuff going on, and that's why we brought our friend Will in, one of the experts, I'd say, on regional and international travel. We'll let him get into more of that here. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody, Will.
What's up, guys? It's William U. VMAX. As I was introduced, I've traveled a lot, specifically for Pokemon, so hopefully I can impart some of the knowledge I've gained through my experience to any viewers, whether you're a veteran of the scene or this is your first season of really traveling and playing competitively, hoping to impart some knowledge and maybe make you laugh. I'm very thrilled to be here, very privileged to be here speaking with, one of the goats of judging in Pokemon, I would say, right now, and then also, of course, the best master in the state of West Virginia, so thanks for having me.
Awesome. And then I forgot to mention some of his notable accomplishments amongst this travel was a Worlds competitor in 2024. I know we hung out in Hawaii. I saw you down there. Top 64 in Puerto Rico. We were also there watching that. And then 2023, you bubbled. You were top 256, but you said you bubbled out of 128. You want to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah. It was my first day to San Antonio 2023. Great regional. Love San Antonio. Hopefully we have it again this year. I love San Antonio. But yeah, it was my first day too. I was just happy to be there. That was back when day 2 was 6 rounds. I went 2-2-2. On day 2, and I just bubbled out of top 128 by just a smidgen. So, but I was just happy to be there. It was my first day too.
Understandable. That the feeling of breaking the threshold is a lot for a lot of people. I remember my first day too. I think I went like 1-4-1. So I feel it, man. Like but it's that thrill. Yeah. I broke the line. I made it there. And then the rest of it, you're just like, all right, cool. I did it once. I can do it again.
Yep.
Very good.
All right, Mr. Will. What brought you to Pokemon?
As far as Pokemon in general as a franchise go, I've just been a fan since I was a little kid. Like all of my earliest memories involve Pokemon. The TV show, the video games especially, and even collecting the cards, and was kind of really important for me is getting into the TCG. I was always a collector, and I was a collector basically my whole life. Loved the cards, loved just the whole franchise, and then eventually, once I was like an adult with some disposable income, I was kind of looking at like actually playing the game and like being able to like build like an actual deck. I started off going to a pre-release. It was a Brilliant Stars pre-release. That's when I started. And I kind of just got hooked thanks to some of the locals in the Charleston, West Virginia area. In particular, James Jump. He was the one who got me really hooked on it. He introduced me to actual decks, like not just playing the pre-release, but he invited me to a card store that doesn't exist anymore. It was in St. Albans called Counterbalance to just play some casual games with him. And he put Mew VMAX in my hands. He was like, here, this is like a good deck for beginners, right? And I was like, yo, this shit feels kind of nice. Like, this deck is awesome. So I was playing that deck, for like 2 years. Like, I was just hooked on Mew VMAX. But that really was James and Justin as well. And of course, my boy Zach Smart, who taught me like everything I know about the game. Those guys in Charleston really got me into the competitive scene as far as card games go. If anyone's really interested in my background, I've got a whole blog post that I wrote after I qualified for Hawaii where I talk about like my whole journey. It's at my Substack, wftimmermeyer.substack.com, where I just talk about like the role Pokemon's had in my life. But still, to this day, Pokemon for me, very important part of my life. It's, maybe in a little bit different of a medium than it was. Like, it used to be the video games, then it was, like, collecting. Now it's really, even more so than just the competition, it's the social aspect of it. It's the community. It's all the people that I met through the competition and the traveling. And, it's just always been a really big part of my life like that.
That's a big part of it that a lot of people miss out on. I've been talking to a lot of people as we prepare for this move, and everyone's like, "You're moving for Pokemon, and you're trying to do." I'm like, a lot of people have not been in these events to see, which we'll get more into this later. I don't want to dip too much into it, but too many people don't understand. It's the connections you make along the way.
Correct. And for anybody who caught the snippet there, Will did live in West Virginia for a while, so that's how we knew each other, and that's where the that joke of the best master in West Virginia came from.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a great love for the West Virginia Pokemon community. I live in Cincinnati now. I've been here for about 2.5 years now, but I still have a lot of great love for all the guys in West Virginia.
But yeah, that was just to cue in there for anybody who didn't realize that. But all right, Mr. Will, what is your favorite Pokemon?
You already know. Look at the button. Yeah, webcam's terrible, but it's Mew. You already know it's Mew.
Of course, it had to be Mew. But we just got to make sure that the world knows it's Mew as well.
Of course.
So what keeps you going in Pokemon? Like, we know you love the game, and we love Mew, and there's no Mew currently at the moment. So what keeps you going?
That's a good question. Addiction. I think part of it is just like it's become such an integral part of my life. Like I don't really know what else I would do. Like I would if I just really didn't play. Like if I've talked about retiring a lot, and in a certain sense, I consider myself like semi-retired, and that I'm not like really try-harding. You know, I'm just kind of still going to events, but just like hanging out with people. But I don't think I'll ever be fully retired unless like something like massive happened in my life, because the thing that does keep me going, like I said, is the community. It's all the people that I met. I love nothing more than just walking into a room in a city on the other side of the country and just like as soon as I walk in, just hearing William UV Max like that's what keeps me going, man.
That's what gets him hype, guys.
That's the same thing, man. That's exactly what I was talking about. Somebody somewhere is a saying that I had. You can go within the professor community. I can go to pretty much any state and find somebody that I've worked with or know, and like get pointers or info or hang out with them for a lunch or dinner or have them show me the cool spots to go to. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so time to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. So, Will, you've traveled a lot. You went to multiple ICs. You've been to multiple regionals. One that you might be familiar with, because you went there as well, is Monterey, which is literally, after this gets posted, 24 hours later. What can you say about the venue? Anything to look out for food-wise? Things to avoid? Any information you can hook us up with on that one?
Alright, couple things about Monterey. So I went last season. I think it was in April. It's kind of weird that they're doing it in September now, because it feels like it just happened last season. But anyways, I imagine the weather will probably be somewhat similar to how it was when I went. And I will tell you, it's going to be hot. Alright, if you're going, it's going to be hot. It's going to be a hot one. I have worn the suit in a lot of regionals, okay? I have worn it in a lot of hot places. I've worn it to Puerto Rico. I've worn it to New Orleans for NAIC. I've worn it to Hawaii for Worlds. The hottest I've ever been in the suit was in Monterey. That was the hottest I have ever been wearing the suit. That's the closest I ever got to not wearing the suit for a regional ever since I started this. It was hot, all right? Make no mistake. So dress appropriately unless you're a real one who's going to be pulling up in a suit, in which case, God bless you, good luck.
Stay hydrated, guys. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, stay hydrated. Definitely stay hydrated. On that note, we all know William UV Max, he likes checking out the bars wherever he goes. But you will be shocked to hear I did not go to any bars in Monterey.
Oh, no.
Everyone says you got to check out the nightlife in Mexico and all that. And I'm sure, the next time I go to Mexico, because I'll go again eventually, I'm sure I'll check that out. But what was really special about Monterey is that, so I think they have a plant there I think it's for Kia. It's some Korean company. So there's a lot of Korean people that come over there for work, specifically to Monterey. As a result, you can go to any convenience store in Monterey and get a bottle of soju, Korean alcohol, which I love. I'm a soju fiend, and you can get that for like $2 basically. Like, it is absurd. So me and my friends, we just bought a ton of soju, took it back to the Airbnb, and like if you like soju, man, like I might not even recommend going out. I would just say go to a convenience store. If you and your boys are there, like if you got people with you, just get some soju, chill. If you got a nice Airbnb like we did, that's the other thing is I would really be diligent when looking at Airbnbs and stuff. I didn't book the Airbnb. Shout out to my boy Donald. He did a really good job with it. But I would say, like, be diligent with your Airbnbs because there are some not great areas in Monterey. So just do your research. Overall, I never really felt like I was not safe in Monterey, but like just be aware. It's like going to any big city. Like just be aware. The other thing mentioning the venue, do not, unless you are just like really bored or unless you are just fiending to go to the vendors, do not go get your wristband on Friday night. If you're a competitor, do not go on Friday evening. I know everyone likes to get there early so they don't have to stress about it on Saturday morning before they compete. That's usually good protocol. I tell you, that was the longest check-in line I've ever stood in. We went Friday evening. We stood in line for 2 hours to get our wristbands. Now, Saturday morning we pull up. We get there with like a respectable amount of time before competition starts, like 30 minutes. 30 minutes before competition starts on Saturday, no line. You could just walk up and get the wristband. So I would say, like, unless they're massive, I'm sure it's the same venue, so unless they're massively changing the logistics of how they handled, like, the lines, I would say just don't go Friday night, go on Saturday. And the next thing, the last point I will make is, this is a hot, like, I'm giving you guys game right now, all right? This is game right here. You guys gotta go to the parking lot because there will be people just selling stuff out there like the vendors don't have. The parking lot, people are selling stuff out of their trunks. There is this one woman, I don't know her name, but she sells these things, plushies with a Monterey hat on them.
That's cool.
So I got this Snorlax there. You gotta get one of these. Also, I didn't get it because he doesn't really have like cans, but she had like little like Corona and Modelo beer bottles that she would put on the Pokemon if you wanted. So you can get a Monterey hat Pokemon plushie with beer in his hands. And it was like I think it was like 500 pesos, which I don't know what that is in USD, but it's worth it. So find her because she ran out pretty quick because someone spilled the beans on Twitter, and of course everyone went looking for her. I got the last plushie she had, so you guys gotta go. Find her if you want a Monterey plushie in the parking lot. That's like a secret Monterey Easter egg. I'm putting you all on game right now.
We appreciate it. Thanks for the recommendation.
The only thing that I'm going to snip in on that is that Copag doesn't run the Latin American events anymore. So I wonder if that will change how fast and well that the getting your wristbands will do. Because what's the new company running the Latin American? Karma Beam. Yeah. So that's the new company that's doing all the Latin American stuff. So we'll definitely take into the recommendations. Everybody to do that. And if you're not like dieharding needing your wristband, you might be okay to just wait for the morning. But also, we need to give Karma Bean the chance to show that they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I didn't know that they switched organizers, so that's good to know.
This was a kind of a this year type thing, and
all the LATAM regionals are ran by them as of right now.
Yeah, so if you're not in the know, you didn't know type stuff, luckily we have a judge, a world qualified judge, that's in the know. So for everybody else out there listening to this episode, Karma Beam, go check them out. That is Latin America's version of Gaming Gen right now. Mm-hmm. Next up on the topics of things is, how do you prepare for a whole season's worth of traveling?
Open a new credit card. That's step number one. That's step number one right there.
Make sure it gets good flyer miles.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to, I like to just map out the season. Like the first season that I really try-harded was that 23-24 season when I qualified for Honolulu. And the minute everything dropped, I had my season mapped out. I was looking at my work schedule. I'm a teacher, so I was like, all right, when do our school breaks fall? Are there any regionals I can get on those? Thankfully, that year my spring break coincided with EUIC, so that was really nice. So if you work a job where you have extended breaks, see if things line up with that. If you have a certain amount of PTO, see what times of the year, maybe if there's a busy time in the year, that you're not going to be able to take off, look at other times. Just kind of try to map out your year with your life circumstances, what works for you. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Pokemon is terrible about telling us when events are now. They don't like to give us all the events at the beginning. They like to leave us guessing, and then they like to shadow drop them at 2 a.m. on a Thursday, and then they're like, "Oh, registration's in 48 hours." I don't know. It's made it a little difficult, but to the extent that you can, just plan. Just be a planner. That also helps from the financial aspect as well. I got 3 back-to-back regionals in November. Better save money for November, or whatever the case may be. I don't even know if I'm going to anything. Oh, I'm going to Vegas in November. I got one in November. But yeah, just plan, and then also just be realistic with yourself too. It's really easy, I think, especially if it's your first season. Your eyes can maybe be a little bit bigger than your stomach, and you could be like, "Oh man, I'm playing a challenge every night, cup every weekend that I'm not traveling, going to every North American regional, every IC." It's even if you can afford it, even if you have infinite money, I tell you, the mental toll is real. Burnout is real. I've experienced it many times myself. I mean, I went to, I don't even know. I can give you my list of, so here, the 23-24 season, here's what I did. I went Pittsburgh, Sacramento, Toronto, San Antonio, Charlotte, Knoxville, Vancouver, EUIC, Orlando, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, NAIC in New Orleans, and then of course Worlds in Honolulu. So that season, I can tell you, it was burnout central over here, man. And it was also we play the game because it's fun. If the game stops being fun, forget about your plan. Just take a step back. There's nothing wrong with that. So plan, but be realistic. That's kind of the best nuanced advice I can give for planning out a season.
Yeah, I had a similar experience to that last year with working every North American regional. And again, working them is a little bit different than playing in them on the financial aspect and the mental aspect, because at some point, as a judge, I don't have to think as hard, and that sounds weird, but once you've been through all the experiences, a lot of the easier stuff is oh, I've seen this 20 times before. You put more mental power on the things wow, this has never happened before. And then you go and grab someone like AJ or a head judge that's been there for a lot longer, and you're like, bro, this just happened. What do I do? But that was the same thing last year. Every single North American regional, I probably couldn't name them off like you just did without missing them. But there was 9 of them all last year, and every single one of them I was at. So I feel the toll. There was a PAX and a Gen Con thrown in there. This year, I've been a little more diligent with it, but some more back-to-backs. We're going back-to-back Monterey to Pittsburgh, and then I just got on for TwitchCon, so back-to-back Milwaukee to TwitchCon.
Wow.
But I enjoy that stuff, so.
Yeah.
All right, so the short version for that, guys, is plan your season out. Make sure it's financially feasible. The burnout is real, so your mental health is more important to the community and us to skip an event than it is to make sure that you said you could hit every regional. Your burnout will hit you harder.
Yes, it will.
Than just saying, all right, cool, I'll bite the bullet on this one, or I'll just go do side events because you already paid for it. Make sure that you keep the fun in the game.
Always.
Absolutely. If you ever find yourself ripping cards, that's a red flag.
Oh my God! How many Twitter posts were there that one year? I saw some. Even Landon.
One of our guys, he called it a Guardy E-Union because he ripped it into 4 pieces and was like, "Here you go."
I believe he lost his winning in the Guardy.
He did. He was It was his first chance to get a day 2. He was 5-2-1, hit Guardy last round on Hisuian Zorark V-Star, and just couldn't get through it. But yeah. So what's next on the chopping block, sir?
Honestly, just more into the regional experience. With 2026 kicking off here in a couple days, we got Frankfurt and Monterey. Starts outside the traditional U.S. Can't say North America because Monterey is technically North America continent, but different regions. And then we have Pittsburgh right after. So back to a little bit of our planning, what we were talking about for people that are going to Frankfurt or Monterey as their first one. That's kind of a tough first one if you ask me, unless you're local. But more so for the people going to Pittsburgh, from the words of William Mew VMAX, what can they expect at a regional if it's their first one?
So, like I said, with Monterey, I kind of told you it's going to be hot. That's something to expect there. If that's your first one, that's definitely not indicative, I would say, of what the North American regional experience is like. Now, if you're going to Pittsburgh for your first regional, I went to Pittsburgh in 2023. I'm not going this year. I'll be at my cousin's wedding. So I can't make it to Pittsburgh this year, but I would say you're probably going to get a good taste of what a North American regional is like going to Pittsburgh. I remember 2023. I think it's run now by a different organization, but I remember that Pittsburgh regional rounds. The turnover was so slow. It was not very well ran, but the venue is pretty nice. I actually like the Pittsburgh venue. If you're going there, nice venue. I also just kind of like Pittsburgh in general. I think people kind of sleep on Pittsburgh. I think there's a lot of fun stuff to do in Pittsburgh. As far as like the regional experience itself, there's going to be a lot of people. So if you got a problem with big crowds or like people being like really close to you, mentally prepare yourself because there's going to be a lot of that. When they say Pokemon trading card game players, your pairings are now online, it's going to be a mad rush. Everyone's going to be trying to get to their table. It's going to be like bumper to bumper traffic, but it's humans packed in there like anchovies. You're going to want to mentally prepare yourself for that if that's an issue for you. If that's not an issue for you, that's great. You'll fit right in. Also, on that note, you're going to smell some smells. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not act like it doesn't happen. Every regional, I'll be smelling some smells. And you don't want to be the guy creating the smell. So shower, wear deodorant, get some cologne if you have to. I don't know. Just don't be the guy making the smells, all right?
There is another smell that does end up happening a lot of times for people who need to calm their nerves. That is another smell that you will get there. So it's not always, for me personally, I'm not a fan of that smell. I don't mind that people have that smell. But if you have problems with that and whatnot, be mentally prepared that there may be somebody in your vicinity that has that type of smell as well. So
yeah, that is a good point. That is a very good point.
What would you do, or what is something you would suggest to people to do the morning of the regional? Because we do go 9 rounds without a lunch break, without much time to go to the bathroom. What would you suggest or tell people that they should be looking forward to doing before the event starts, and how to use their time wisely in the middle of the event?
So if you are a person who likes caffeine, if you regularly drink caffeine, get your caffeine in you. If you don't regularly drink caffeine, I'm actually going to say now's not a good time to start because the crash is real. If you're not used to it, the crash is real, and you don't want to crash around round 4 or 5.
Oh, 100%.
So you don't want to start now. Now, if you do drink the caffeine, like get it coffee, energy drink, whatever. Yeah. I will also tell you this: if I'm remembering correctly, I have like a catalog of memories of this in my mind of every convention center where their vending machines are readily stocked with energy drinks. Pittsburgh is not one of them. So if you need energy drinks, if you need more than one especially, buy them at a convenience store the night before or like on the way there in the morning. Get your energy drinks, because at least in 2023, I looked all over that convention center, could not find a bed. I actually remember that was the regional where I went on Twitter and was like, can anyone get me an energy drink? Pipeline Punch Monster, please. And my boy Peppers came through, so shout out to Peppers. I miss Peppers, a West Virginia legend. But yeah, the caffeine situation, definitely be aware of it because you're going to be using a lot of energy. The other thing is food. Since, you mentioned no lunch break for Masters, you got to know what works for you. You got to know your body. Me personally, everyone will tell you I'm not really a breakfast guy. Like, I can be fine, no breakfast. But if you regularly eat breakfast, if you eat breakfast every day, you better get up early enough to eat breakfast before you go compete. And also, pack some snacks.
Yep.
You're going to need them. You may not have time to go to lunch until, if all of your rounds are going to time, if you're playing Gardevoir mirrors every round, you need some snacks. You're not going to have time to go hit the concession stand. You're not going to have time to go get, a convention center glizzy. You're not going to have time for any of that. So bring the snacks with you, whatever you like. I could be disingenuous and give you the advice of make sure it's something healthy, but I don't follow that. I just pack whatever I like. You're going to see me eating chocolate-covered pretzels in between rounds. Whatever works for you. Just get some food in you. Get something in you. Like, if you ever see me eating fruits and vegetables at a tournament, I'm winning that event. Like, that's what's happening.
One of two things has happened. We got to check on him because make sure his mental's okay, or he's doing so well he's winning the event. It's one or the other.
Yeah, no, for me, it's usually granola bars and these, I don't know if anybody's seen them, I forget the brand right off the top of my head, but they're these energy waffles. They're like honey and graham cracker, and they're easy. I can put them in my pocket. When I'm judging, I can snack on one while I'm walking to the bathroom. I'm not going to lie, they provide food, but sometimes it's not something that I want to eat, or it's covered in cheese. I don't like cheese, so I just end up not eating as much of it. I mean, they're great on them for providing us food. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Just sometimes it's actually too fancy. If there's one thing I have to say, like this brie one time was just absolutely not good. I realized I don't like brie. But to that point, I know I had a granola bar and an energy waffle in my bag, so I was like, I'm good. I can go walk out, get some air, mash on that waffle real quick, and get right back to business. So to Will's point, know your body and know what you like. If you do like fruits, I love bananas. I will always take bananas every morning. That'll be my breakfast. Perfect.
All right, guys. So short recap on that. Make sure if you are a caffeine drinker, be caffeinated. Preferably for an event, if this is your first one, don't get a sugar caffeinated drink. Just because you will crash from all the mental stress, the anxieties, the jitters, all that will burn through it faster. So if you like Monsters, get one of the Ultras, they don't taste aspartame-y. Get something with no sugar in it so it lasts longer, you don't get the crash. Get something you can eat, whether it's a bag of goldfish or Oreos, chocolate-covered pretzels, energy waffles, whatever it can be. Make sure you have the substance you need for your body and can go 9 hours. Those are the 3 things you need to remember.
And if you're sitting here like, I don't know, it's my first regional, I've never been to one, this is your time to take notes and experiment. And I mean that. Try things. Try the energy waffle idea. Try a granola bar. All right, cool. Granola bars weren't it. You didn't like it? Try fruit. Like Tiger said with the drinks, there are other alternatives to super sugary drinks. Not me with the Mountain Dew. Trust me, I can drink Mountain Dew all the time. But water is definitely a necessity. Have a bottle, refillable, because usually there's a station to refill it. But yeah, definitely want to stay hydrated and nourished.
Health tip of the event: if you are going to drink a Monster, especially one of the jumbo oversized ones with lots of sugar, make sure you have a bottle of water with you. It will dilute it, but you still get the caffeine, so it'll carry you further. That is the one and only thing I will say.
On that point, if you're drinking a lot of caffeine, just try to play fast because you're going to have to go to the bathroom after.
Yeah, that's not a fun trip. So, pro tip there, go to the bathroom. Now, sometimes this may not work for many players out there. For those that are in side events or with friends, the bathrooms are clear right when the round starts. Because everybody's like, oh, I got to get there. You do have 5 minutes to get to your seat. Now, this is not me telling you be late to your match to use the bathroom. But if you've got to go really bad, and your round starts and you're about to sit down, it would be better to run to the bathroom first and then get over there, because it's going to start to clear out. Now, if you get there and realize you're going to be late to your match, don't be late to your match.
Right.
But that's just a pro tip for anybody. Maybe you're already out of the tournament and you got to go to the bathroom, or you're just spectating and you're like, man, it's been crazy packed every time I go. Wait until they call the round, because you'll see everybody start to find their seats, and all those bodies can't be in the bathroom if they're sitting down playing the game.
All right, so next up is one of what everybody's waiting for, the meta prediction for Monterrey/Frankfurt. And will it be different? Because, remember, it's free you over there in Frankfurt. But just kidding, guys. We know there's a lot of good players in the European countries. One of my favorite European players over there, Ajvind, another Zard bot like myself. So, good people over there. Will, first question is, do you think the meta in EU will be different than in Monterrey?
Yeah, I actually do. I kind of do. I think that this is a very weird, wacky observation, but in my experience, Europeans play a lot faster than Latin American players do. So I think that actually will kind of like result in different decks being chosen, especially with the new time rules coming in. I think that is actually something to consider. I also just think that I mean, no disrespect to anyone with this. European regionals tend to have high meta shares of like whatever the lamest deck in the format is. So, I think we'll probably see, like, I don't know. I don't even know what the lamest deck in the format is right now because there's so many of them. But we'll probably see whatever it is in Europe more so than in Monterrey. Across the board, though, I'm saying it right now, Goldango, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the Goldang Bros podcast.
No.
I think Goldango is the best deck in the format. I think Goldango is crazy cracked. You're not going to see me playing it, but I think that deck is cracked.
Now, because of players like Yella, the Goldang god over in Europe, do you think Europeans are going to have a higher Goldango share than in Latin America? Because typically Latin America has went towards Big Basics and Charizard over the past few years?
You know, I think that's a good question, and I remember, like, obviously this was months ago, but I remember when I went to Monterrey, there was so much Goldango in the room.
Really?
There was so much Goldango in the room. I think I only played 2 mirrors, but still, like, across 8 rounds, 2 mirrors, that's like a decent amount. And then, like, it was like every round, like, there was a Goldango to my left, Goldango to my right. I don't know if that's just, I don't know what the percentage was on that particular event. Maybe that's just confirmation bias, but I think that Goldango definitely has a fan base in Monterrey. I understand what you're saying, that, like, there's a lot of hype for it probably in Europe right now as well. That's why I say, like, Goldango, I think just across the board, we're going to see a lot of Goldango love. Now, other decks, like, obviously there's kind of the big 4, like that Austin Charles tweet a while ago that was like Goldango, Gardevoir, Dragapult, Raging Bolt. Those are kind of the 4 to look at. I don't think Bolt is, like, of the 4, I think Bolt's probably going to have the lowest percentage played. Could be totally off on that, but I do think that, like, Gardevoir and Dragapult, like, you're just going to have to deal with these lame decks every round, man. You're just going to have to deal with these decks that... pull up the Tiger tweet about Gardevoir. Can we pull up the Tiger tweet about Gardevoir? He said it better than me.
In that format, the skinny of that tweet that I posted a while back was, I said that Gardevoir is just wannabe control. They refinement Iono, and can go 3 prizes down, and then just go 2-4-6. They played like control with counter catcher, stall, Iono shenanigans. It's a little different for Gardevoir now because they don't have refinement, and they actually have to play the game. But it is
That's
true. Gardevoir is a very linear style deck, and because of how the linearity of basics, I know I'm going to get some heat for Gardevoir such a complicated deck, blah 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 blah. And yes, it can be depending if you build the Flutter Mane Devo shenanigans, if you're going Jealous, you have a lot of options. But the same goal is by turn 3 you need a Gardevoir and you need to swing at something.
Yes.
I mean, if anybody wants to hate on that specific perspective, go for it. But all right, meta share prediction for Frankfurt and Monterrey. How much Goldango do you think we'll see in Frankfurt?
I think it'll be the most played deck.
We saying over 20%?
No, I'm not going over 20. If I'm doing an over-under, I'm going under 20. But I might go you might be able to get me 18. I might say 18.
Okay. Monterrey, we doing over or under 20%?
I'm gonna say under still. Probably actually more under. Because now that I think of it, this is again just probably confirmation bias, but there was also so much jank in Monterrey. and before anyone says anything, no, I was not at bottom tables, so that's not why I saw the jank. All right, all right. There was just a lot of jank at Monterrey, so I think the meta share is going to be more spread out, just because you'll have that point whatever percent that pulls up with Iono's belly bolt or whatever. And then you got just more of a spread. So I think I'll say Goldango's still most played, but instead of 18, we'll say 14.
Well, I mean, on that point, you see it at North American regionals, and more so in other regionals, other areas, I should say, regions. This is their local regional to many of the Latin American players. They're not. Many of them maybe aren't able to get to United States to play. Same thing as in Puerto Rico. Me and Tiger talked about it, and when we started the podcast that week and noticed it, a lot of the competition was Puerto Rican native players that don't necessarily get to travel all the time. Even though it's only a hop and skip to Florida, some of them have a lot of things that stop them from doing the whole, like Will and us have done, and travel around the whole country for a season or two. Some of them can't do that, so that's, I think, why you get those little ticks of, this is my favorite deck, this is what I've been playing, this is the only regional I'm going to play all year. Here I am.
All right, so we've got 18%.
Oh, yeah, right that time, I guess.
18% at Frankfurt for Dango, and we got 14% at Monterrey for Goldango. What do we think about Dragapult, Dusknoir, or should we categorize all Dragapults in the same one, because it is kind of getting into a weird spot for Dragapult?
Yeah, that's a good point. Dragapult is kind of, I don't know, there's just more variants of it now as far as the way they're building it. People, you got the Ghostpult, obviously, which I just think Ghostpult's best. As in my semi-retired, doesn't really keep up with the meta opinion, I have always just thought Ghostpult was just better. Because they do nothing for 6 turns, and then they wipe your board. You're up 1-6, and then you just lose.
Board wipe. I don't know. My feelings with Dragapult, I don't know. A lot of the testing online has been Badoo for 3-4 turns. So here's the thing. I knocked this Badoo out. The first 3 prize cards of this game were all Badoo. He kept bringing it back. And I don't know when they were going to learn the lesson that it wasn't stopping me. Whether it was what I had already set up, the lessons from the coach here, to go through Badoo, even though you're item locked. It's like, alright, cool. Drew an energy. Boom. It's like, I don't know. That's my little take on it, is I don't like the Dragapults that are Badooing for 3-4 turns. If you're using it for a turn to set up, that's what the card's there for. I can't be mad at the game for putting in a free retreater with a free attack that does such a... it is free attack. That does such a thing. I start thinking about the Pikachus. Or Pichus, not free. But to do it completely for 4 turns, and nothing else was really even being set up. Now, granted, they probably just didn't have it, but it's like, bro, at that point...
Right.
In a best of 3, at that point, I would hope the player would just be like, all right, this strat ain't working. Let's go to game 2. I mean, if it is game 2 and they lost game 1, then yeah, play that out. But I don't know.
All right, so let's just go ahead and dump all Dragapults together, just because the two versions that we're going to see is either Slowpolt, which is a control style with the Toedscruel and the Cornerstone and the Maractus, and the Ghostpolt. So as a whole, because as a whole it should be a higher percentage. What do we think just Dragapult as a whole will be in Frankfurt?
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, it's probably going to be higher than Dango. Even if we group together, the Joltik Dango players with regular Dango, I still think if we put all the Dragapult variants together, we probably see Polt as the number 1 deck. There, we're probably looking, I don't even know. I would not be surprised if we see like 25% there.
25% of combined of Polts for Frankfurt. Okay.
That seems to make sense. I mean, if you look at all the
I wouldn't
variants.
be surprised.
And Monterrey.
I feel like it's going to be less popular at Monterrey. It may not be. It could be exactly the same. Again, we're talking about 2 metas that I don't know that much about. They're not my own regions, but I think just like with the new time rules and stuff, like Polt, it's not like a slow play deck, but it's also not like a turbo deck. So
that is the key, that the new time rule can affect these people playing the Polt variants. BO1, it doesn't change much for them, but BO3, they don't win that first match. Game's basically over.
Yeah, back to the board wipes. There's ways to set up against a board wipe going into that time and avoiding them from even getting to that point. So yeah, that is definitely a key.
So just because Monterey is a way smaller event, what are you thinking? Over or under 20 because of it being a smaller event?
I might go with like right at 20.
Right at
That's
20.
What I was thinking.
Okay. So far we've got almost 50% covered of the field for Frankfurt with 25 and 18%. We're about 7% shy of having half of the board being some Dragapult variant and Dango as a Dango
I
variant.
I think that's accurate. I'm glad you're keeping track of the numbers because I'm just shooting from the hip, but that sounds good to me.
And for Monterrey, because it's following more suit with your more wide variety, we're only at about 34% for Monterrey. So let's go with Guardy, the world champion right now. Do we think it falls because of the increased rise of Goldango and perhaps the more secret plays of these events, as in like Charizard making its comeback, some of the Wellspring decks making comebacks? Does that play an effect in Guardy?
It probably does. I think a lot of people are going to... On one end, there's always the people that are going to be like, well, it just won Worlds. I want to play the deck, the best deck. It just won the last format. It's the best deck. Mm-hmm. And then you've always got like a lot of people for Gardevoir that are just Guardy believers. They're going to play Gardevoir no matter what. So there's always going to be a sizable chunk there. But on the other end, you always have the people that are like, this deck just won the last major event. There's no way I'm touching that thing with a 10-foot pole because everyone's going to be trying to tech for it, counter it.
What I say.
So I think we probably do see a little bit of a decrease in Guardy, but I just think the diehards was in it. It's still just such a good deck. I think it's still solidly going to be number 3 in terms of percentage. It maybe a little bit of slippage. I would be surprised if it slipped to 4th, but I could maybe see that, especially in Monterrey. But no, I think Guardy's still solidly going to be placing at number 3. Definitely under 20.
So we're gonna go.
I'll say like
we'll do over or under 10% on this one.
Yeah. Give me like 11%.
For Frankfurt or for Monterrey?
I think.
For both. How about that?
Both. Okay. 11% for both.
No, I think both of you brought up good points there. The rise of Dango definitely does shoot Guardy down a notch. The speed of whichever version you decide to play can really punish the player. And then, like Tiger said, Zard is on the rise. Like, believe it or not, there are players out there that believe in Zard. It's a very strong deck. Different builds out there, right? And I believe it just absolutely destroys Guardian unless it just sets up bad.
I mean, we had what? It didn't even make graphics of day one for Worlds, and then 2 of them made top 8. So it's definitely a contender, especially with the increase of these Goldangos. And our next contestant of Raging Bolt, a new near and dear deck from your career. Where do we think Bolt falls? And let's include no Owl and Owl versions together.
Yeah. I think Raging Bull definitely below 10%.
Okay.
At both events, but not by much. I'll say like it's probably gonna be a slight difference. I think it's gonna be a little bit more in Monterey. The thing with Bolt is that when it's cooking, when it gets set up,
Jeez.
It's just so good. Like it's
280 every turn.
Nothing's beating it. Nothing's like, I don't care what tech you're playing. Like if I really just got it like that as Bolt, like the deck can do almost anything. It's just got so many tools. It's so good. The problem is, of course, it's a little bit high rolly, especially if you're playing the no owls version, which is the best version. We do not play with the owls here in the William U. VMAX household. We do not give a hoot about those owls. Really, we're actually out here playing Boltic. We're playing Joltic Bolt.
Oh, I've seen
that. That deck is sick. That deck, but there's not a single owl in there.
I'm gonna lean into that one. I really think that is just to try and help skew the Guardy matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it works. It works.
All right, I'm gonna take second away from you, and then I'm gonna amp. You better have return Gardevoir double Monkey Dory this turn, or I'm doing it again.
Yep.
That is the goal.
Yup. It's sick. And then they knock out your hands eventually, and then you just solder the energy back and knock out the Gardevoir EX for game. It's sick.
I mean, as long as it lines up perfectly, yeah, that seems like a dreamland.
Yeah, right.
But all right, so we've got Frankfurt for, you said a little less, so I went for 8% at Frankfurt and 9% at Monterey.
9. Yeah, that sounds perfect.
All right, and then the dark horse that people are hoping makes a comeback. We've got the choices of Zard and Grimmsnarl. Which one do you think has a better play?
Get Grim out of here. Grimmsnarl does not.
Zard's better. Zard's just better.
Grimmsnarl's a wannabe Zard.
Grimmsnarl was fraudulent. Grimmsnarl's a fraud, man. I get the hype going into like NAIC with it and stuff. Like everyone thought it was going to be sick, and it just hasn't performed. I don't know. I don't know enough about the game to tell you why that is. I just know that Grimmsnarl's a fraud, and all I know is that Zard is my op that refuses to die. So I'm just going to always bet on Zard because that stupid deck just refuses to die. Every time I think he's dead, he comes back from the grave. It's insane.
Yeah, he always comes back with a new toy.
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me why we can't play Charizard like Grimmsnarl, and I said, what do you mean? And they said it literally does the same thing but swings harder.
What?
So if you put a Frostlass, because most of the Charizards are playing Monkey Dory already.
Oh, yeah.
So if we put a Frostlass into Charizard, doesn't it just do what Grimmsnarl does better? Because you scale damage, and Grimmsnarl cannot. So a 1/1 Frostlass line in Charizard is what they were asking. I was like,
yeah.
I could see it. I don't know if I would do it, but I can see it.
Well, I think the only thing that takes Grimmsnarl up is the fact that you go double or triple Monkey. Sometimes I've seen triple Monkey. It might be a separate build, but getting the double Frostlass and having the one Grimmsnarl, yeah, that can be tough. But I can tell you right now, there's a lot of decks out there that are playing against it. So I personally say Zard's definitely above Grimmsnarl in the Dark Horse matchup. They're fighting for that 5th seed, then Zard's going to get it.
So with that being said, we do have a lot of North American players and Latin American players. Like, I don't know if you remember, but the Latin Americans were the ones that created the Arvin Zard build.
Yeah.
So, like, there's probably going to be a nice resurgent down there for that. Does that make a difference between Monterey and Frankfurt, which one do you think will have a higher Zard percentage?
Yeah, that's a good point. I could see Monterey having a higher Zard percentage. I could see it being fairly significant. Actually, now that you mention it, that does seem like that would track.
Especially if Dango's going to be such a high percentage.
Exactly. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Do you think that actually moves it up a few spots and could rearrange the order here a little bit?
I don't know. I think the top 4 is pretty much locked in.
You don't think it's going to be a higher percentage than Raging Bolt in Monterey?
Probably not. I think the top 4 both is going to at least be some order of Polt, Dango, Guardy, and Bolt. Now Zard could get close. It might be up there in Monterey, but I don't know. I just think Bolt is too powerful right now to really fall below that.
Gotcha. So what are we saying? Over or under 5%?
I'm gonna say. I'll say at least definitely for Monterey. I'll say over.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Like 7?
Yeah. Well, I'm down to go with 7, and then maybe for Frankfurt go with like 5.
Now this could be a weird one because Ojvind is a European and he did just top 8 with it at the World Championship. Does that mean that the Ojvind fans will follow suit, or do we just go with the yellow fans because everybody likes to draw cards and go and they play Goldango?
I mean, who doesn't love to draw some cards? I mean, I definitely think in both cases Zard's going to be the most popular dark deck because Grimmsnarl's fraudulent, and don't even get me started on Enzorark. That deck is buns. That deck, oh my goodness. If you're playing Ends right now, you are a true fan. You are a real one if you're playing Ends right now. I don't know how that deck wins games. It's insane. I play against that deck and I'm like, this is free.
It 100% hopes that it's the text that it puts in the deck wins the matchup. Zor can find my tech. Yeah. Can my tech win the matchup?
Yeah.
Alright, so for Frankfurt then, are we going over or under 5%?
Give me 6% there.
6% in Frankfurt. 6%. I like it. Now, the rogue choice. What would you choose? My personal, I think Poison could come back right now.
You're always on that Poison, bro. You're always on that.
But I mean, if you just look at the top 3 decks. Dango, Polt, and Guardy. Poison just eats that.
So, on a smaller curve there, I took Poison to 2 different Professor Cups and actually did pretty well with it because, yeah, they have wonky rules, I understand that, but if a player doesn't know that you're gonna donk them, you can steal an easy game and then make them sweat the next game because they have to put a basic down. There was one where I played and I just donked them 2 times in a row and they were just like, what the heck? I was like, I don't know. I mean, we cooked. What can I say?
Yeah, like I said, for me, my 2 would be either Poison or Terrabox as the rogue pick for the events.
I feel like I'm seeing like an uptick in Terrabox posting on Twitter. I don't know if that's indicative of anything, but I do feel like I'm seeing a lot more posts of people being like, just want a challenge or just want a cup with Terrabox. I think Terrabox might be more well positioned, but I don't. Just because I'm not seeing people talking about Poison doesn't mean that it's not very well positioned. I just don't know how many people are like going to show up with Poison.
Yeah, is it too much of a gimmick for people is the big question.
Right.
And which do you choose, Archaludon or Moon? There's a lot to go with that. So that's it will be near and dear with me. It was my highest placement of the season without, if you don't count Puerto Rico because of how small it was.
Sure.
I also almost considered it for Worlds. I was going to play Poison Gouging Fire to Worlds.
Dude, I remember you mentioning that. I was like, you know what, that's pretty sick. Conceptually, Poison, Gouging Fire. Now, out of all the like realistic things we could see as like a dark horse, like if I was showing up to the event and I had to pick one, I'm playing Poison Moon. I've always just thought Roaring Moon's really cool. So that would be my pick, but I do think Terrabox is probably the most well positioned.
All right, so we've got Terrabox as the rogue pick. All right, so that's it for our predictions on that then. Pretty close to what we would have went for. I would have had Dango slightly higher at both of at Frankfurt. I would have called it probably closer to 20. Monterey, I would be about the same. Polt, I would have a little bit lower at both events just because I think Polt's becoming more fraudulent because of the rise of Dango. Guardy, probably about the same, maybe a little higher in Monterey just because of the Pedro Pertusi's group with William Albazito. I can't pronounce his last name. He won he reinvented the TM Evo Guardy again at one of the European events. So like they do have that coming for him as well. Bolt, I have no opinion on Bolt. It's either going to smash through you or it doesn't, and I'm not a huge fan of 50-50s. Zard, I do think could be. It's either going to be a top 3 or it's not going to be on the charts.
I think it's going to convert well.
It will definitely convert well.
Yeah.
And I think it's either going to be a top 3 most played or it's going to be nothing at all, and those people that decided to play it are all going to make day 2. Which version of Dango would you play if you were playing it? Togekiss, Chansey, Ceruledge, Dusknoir.
Probably Togekiss.
Like the Piper list?
Yeah, as much as I love just throwing Joltik and Iron Hands into stuff.
See, Joltango is a completely different set. Out of straight Dango decks.
Okay, yeah. Out of straight Dango, I would say probably the Togekiss. Because I like rolling them dice. I would probably just play. Yep, we love the crams. We love the Pokemon catchers. In Expanded, I cooked up. Zach really cooked it up. But I played recently to an Expanded tournament, the Greedy Dice Mew. Fire. We love rolling dice. So I think I'm probably going with Togekiss, and I don't even think that's like necessarily just a funny take. I think that that is just the best way to even out your single prize odd prizing matchups, because that is where Dango kind of struggles. It helps that we have Genesect, so you can maintain a single prize board longer, but eventually you got to start swinging, and if it's a deck especially in instances where you don't have your perfect start, you got to start a 2-prizer or something, the Togekiss can just fix your math so much. So I would probably just go with the Togekiss.
All right, you guys heard it here. The coin flip Mew VMAX himself says Togekiss is the best version.
King.
The Cram King. All right, so what do we got next? Because we are going to be having to wrap it up here.
Honestly, we covered a lot of everything. The only thing we kind of skipped over was with Pittsburgh. Make sure if you're playing competitive, don't forget about side events. That's my little tidbit. Back to the not having fun or your day's ruined because of a 1-3 and a bad matchup. Go get some air. Go get something to eat. Go relax. Drop out of the tournament. That's fine. I always say if you're not having fun, go ahead and drop. There's no shame in dropping. But don't drop yourself out of the experience. Go to sides. Come over and see me if you're watching this. I guarantee you I'll find an event that picks you back up. See it too often. People just go to an event, they're gung-ho on day 2ing, and that doesn't happen. And it's bro, there's more to Pokemon than just this. Because these experiences here are what's going to build you up for those day 2s in the future. Right, Tiger?
100%. I know many times of getting close to the end and then losing it, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go beat up on somebody in side events with my extremely annoying deck. All right, I play, I played Raikou, Regieleki VMAX to a couple events during the big Lugia phase, and that deck destroyed Lugia.
Yeah.
But I took it to the wrong event where Duraludon VMAX and Goodra was running the whole format. I couldn't get through those walls. So guess who went 4-1-3 against the walls with an aggro deck? I went and played some side events afterwards.
Best way to pick yourself back up. That was all. That's my own little tidbit. I had it written down. We didn't say it, but that's really it. Especially with Pittsburgh around the corner. I don't know what Frankfurt's gonna have good sides. UE usually does. I've tried to look up sides in Monterey. There's nothing yet. They say they're going to have some, but I'm not sure. But Pittsburgh will definitely have some booming sides. So come by and see me.
100%. Will, any other last minute tips, tricks of the trade that you want to give everybody?
Just another thing as far as like big travel goes. Like if you're going to be traveling a lot, this is more so for you. If you're just like going to stuff that's like within driving distance for you, not so much. But I will tell you guys, number one subscription that has saved me so many times. This is not a sponsored ad. Trust me. Clear.
Yes.
If you are flying a lot.
Yes.
If you don't have TSA PreCheck, I know a lot of people already have TSA PreCheck, but if you don't have TSA PreCheck, go to the Clear people at one of these airports that has Clear when you're flying. Get the free trial. Start with the free trial. They'll sign you up there. You get like the first like month free or whatever.
3 months free.
And it's
3. I accidentally paid for it. Is kind of what happened. Is that classic? Oh, I forgot I had subscription. Saw $200 come out. But I'll tell you what. I second it. It has saved my life from traveling. I would have missed flights with Pittsburgh's security being out the door during remodel, and I'm just like, oh, I get to walk right through? I mean, it doesn't save me from the screening. You still have to go through. That's what PreCheck's for, but Clear gets you through that security line of just standing there and waiting. Yeah, not a paid sponsorship, but he ain't lying.
Yeah, definitely. It would be not a complete travel recommendation if I didn't mention Clear. For those of you that are really going to be on that grind, you're going to be flying, definitely look into Clear.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for us here at the Lucky Draw podcast. We want to thank William again for coming out and being our special guest. So, all right, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Stay lucky, and we'll see you next time.